10.
let's go for main engine start.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And booster ignition, liftoff.
Flight of
Space
NASA's
Shuttle
Apollo
Discovery.
11,
Taking the
July
space
16,
station to full
24,
power for
1969.
full science.
From July 16 to 24, 1969, the American spacecraft Apollo 11 made the flight, during which the inhabitants of the Earth landed on the surface of the Moon for the first time in history. The launch of the Saturn V launch vehicle, which launched the Apollo 11 spacecraft into orbit, took place on July 6, 1969 at 9:32 a.m. East Coast time from Cape Kennedy. The crew of the spacecraft included 3 astronauts: Commander Neil Armstrong, Lunar Module pilot Edwin Aldrin, and Command Module pilot Michael Collins. The main goal of this space flight was landing on the Earth's moon and successful return to Earth, which was set by U.S. President John F. Kennedy on May 25, 1961. The Apollo 11 spacecraft consisted of 2 modules, a command module, callsign Columbia, and a lunar module, callsign Eagle. In the command compartment, the crew spent most of the flight, and the lunar module was intended directly for landing and subsequent takeoff from the moon. On July 19, after 76 hours of flight, Apollo 11 entered lunar orbit. On July 20, about 100 hours after launch, the command and lunar modules undocked. Michael Collins remained in the command module, while Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin were in the lunar module. The astronauts turned on the engine of the landing stage of the lunar module and the cabin flew to the moon. Despite the fact that the National Aeronautics and Space Administration intended to land on the lunar surface in automatic mode, Armstrong, as the expedition commander, decided to land the lunar module in semi-automatic mode. He justified his decision with the words, "Automation does not know how to choose landing sites." Armstrong began to control the lunar cabin manually on the last section of the descent, from a height of 150 meters, as the automation led the lunar module to land directly into a crater with stones up to 3 meters in diameter. The spacecraft landed on the Sea of Tranquility on July 20 at 16:18 EST. After that, the astronauts checked the onboard systems and simulated a launch from the moon. Then they put on spacesuits, checked their tightness and the operation of the life support system. On July 20, at 22:56 minutes East Coast time, Armstrong stepped on the moon. Standing on the moon, first with his right and then with his left foot, he said, "This small step of one person means a giant leap for mankind." A video camera mounted outside the module broadcast Armstrong's exit to the lunar surface. Aldrin also landed on the moon 20 minutes later. All the equipment of the astronauts weighed about 80 kilograms, but under lunar conditions, the weight is reduced by about 6 times. Therefore, on the moon, even with such equipment, an astronaut weighed less than 25 kilograms. Unprecedented lightness allowed the astronauts to move on the moon with jumps 2 meters high. It was also noticed that under lunar conditions it became possible to lean strongly in any direction without losing balance. During their entire stay on the moon, the astronauts never fell and did not feel tired at all. From above, the surface of the moon was covered with a fine-grained black powdery substance, similar to crushed coal. And so, wherever the astronauts only set foot, prints of clear traces remained on the lunar surface. During the moonwalk, the astronauts took samples of lunar rocks, installed scientific instruments on the moon, a seismometer and a laser reflector. They fixed the national flag of the United States on the lunar surface and left medals depicting people who gave their lives to the cause of studying the universe: Soviet Yuri Gagarin and Vladimir Komarov, and American Virgil Grissom, Roger Chaffee, and Edward White, who died during the launch of the Apollo 1 spacecraft. In addition, miniature flags of 136 states of the world were delivered to the moon, including the flag of the Soviet Union, and a metal plate with the words engraved on it, "Here, people from the planet Earth set foot on the moon for the first time." July, the year 1969 from the Nativity of Christ. "We came with peace from all mankind." Aldrin stayed on the moon for about an hour and a half and returned to the lunar module. Armstrong followed after 40 minutes. His walk on the moon lasted more than 2.5 hours. After completing the exit to the surface of the Earth's satellite, the American astronauts, after checking the onboard systems and having dinner, slept for about 7 hours. Armstrong slept in a hammock suspended over the module's takeoff stage main engine shroud, Aldrin on the cockpit floor. After waking up, they had breakfast and went to lunar orbit, where the command module was waiting for them. In total, the astronauts spent 21 hours and 36 minutes on the moon. The operation to rendezvous and dock the command and lunar modules lasted 3.5 hours. After its completion, The lunar travelers moved to the command compartment of the Apollo, and the takeoff stage was left in orbit as unnecessary. The landing stage of the lunar cabin, which served as the launch pad, remained on the Moon. On July 22, the astronauts turned on the main engine of the command compartment, and the ship lay on course towards the Earth. On July 24, at 12:50 p.m. EDT, the command compartment splashed down in the Pacific Ocean southwest of the Hawaiian Islands. With the help of a helicopter, the crew was delivered to the deck of the aircraft carrier. Then they were taken to Houston. After completing the mission, all astronauts underwent a mandatory 18-day quarantine due to speculation about the possible existence of lunar organisms. After quarantine and vacation, on August 13, 1969, solemn meetings of astronauts were organized in New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles.